Hello, everybody. It's Allie, and welcome to our Y&R chat for Sunday, October 30th. Why beat around the bush about it? Why bury the lead? I'm just gonna, let's talk about the thing that we all want to talk about that has been on our minds probably all week. Phyllis and Ronan had sex. Phyllis and Ronan had probably the most dirty, naughty, sensual sex that I've seen in so long on daytime. There was something about that sex. It was so bad. Honestly, the last naughty sex that I can remember like that would have to be like Phyllis and Nick, where the sex just like takes you aback. The chemistry it has built so greatly and then just explodes like that in one unexpected, magnificent moment. Phyllis and Ronan had dirty, bad, wonderful sex on Phyllis's desk at Restless Style. And let me tell you guys, I needed a cigarette after that sex. The hairs on my legs were standing up. I mean, I literally got chills from this sex scene. It was, oh wow. And it was building throughout the week. And I'll kind of start at the beginning. Let's start at the beginning and talk about the build-up, because that, I think, was what made the actual sex so powerful. The fact that the build-up was so explosive. So, Phyllis and Nick spent a good part of the first part of the week talking about the whole warehouse debacle. And they're wondering where Ronan's head is in this Diane's murder investigation, because of course they're both realizing that they're both very much still suspects. So Nick goes to pay a visit to Ronan to try to get some information out of him. And it doesn't quite wash. Ronan doesn't quite, how shall we say, respond to Nick the way that he did to Phyllis. And Phyllis knew that this was coming. After Nick got back, she looked at Nick and realized he'd had a bust and said, you know what, let me give it a try. I have womanly ways that you do not have. Let me go see if I can get some information out of Ronan. She got something out of him. She sure got something out of him. She goes to see him in his office, and not in his office, it was at Glowworm. And they just meet, and they start just very subtly talking around the topic that they're kind of attracted together, because we've seen throughout the past couple weeks little hints, little clues that there's a sexual chemistry between Phyllis and Ronan, like he was looking at her legs in the park a couple of weeks ago, and now they're sitting in the bar at Glowworm and they're just kind of flirting with each other, but Ronan is suspicious. He knows that Phyllis is up to something, because Phyllis just shows up in her sexiest black dress with with everything exposed. It was like legs, boobs, shoulders, knees and toes, like everything was showing. And she had a sexy pair of black shoes on, and she tracked him down, and she was obviously trying to lull him into a false sense of spilling some information about this trial. But Big Ronan kept it under control. He is not going to let his insatiable sex drive get in the way of his job. He's decided that he's going to keep his cool. But they're having this banter back and forth, and the entire time I'm finding myself thinking, please, God, let this happen. It just needed to happen. I didn't even know I wanted it, and then I was wanting it, which was part of the beauty. But Ronan kind of walks away from this meeting at Glowworm, and he wants to kind of tell Phyllis that he's interested, but that he's not gonna let her trick him. So just as he walks away from her, kind of gives her the, I see what you're doing, just as he walks away, he leans into her and he says, we should talk again soon. And he kind of lightly buries his nose into her hair and just takes a whiff, like, that is so hot, and it's so on par for, like, what sexual chemistry is. Like, if you ever find somebody that you're super attracted to, have you ever found somebody that you're super attracted to and just the smell of them, like, their pheromones just seep into your nostrils and work their way through your system? And it's just, it creates a new level of arousal. Like, it's an arousal of all of the senses at the same time. And that was totally what I got in that moment with Phyllis and Ronan. It was like instant mental orgasm for me. It was just so hot. But I thought that that's where it was going to end. I was not expecting them to have another meeting, and I honestly don't think that either of them were expecting it either, but Phyllis walked in on yet another situation between Nick and Avery where he's embracing her because she's upset about Sharon's trial. Phyllis sees it, naturally is upset because now it's getting ridiculous. I was defending Nick up until this point, but now it's like, dude, back off. And so Phyllis she's frustrated with Nick, and she, I think, sees this as kind of a way to, I don't know if get back at him is the right phrase, but I think she sees it as just like a naughty little, you know what, if he's gonna do what he's gonna do, then I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do. So she calls Ronan, who's also having a moment that is uncomfortable for him, and we'll talk about that later. But she calls him, tells him to come over to Restless Style, and they meet again. Which is so, it's just, I can't believe it. Like, I'm literally in shock right now. So Ronan shows up at Restless Style, and it's just in the air. It's written on the walls. Sex is what needs to happen. They don't need to talk about anything. There's no business that they have between the two of them. It just needs to be straight up dirty, dirty sex. And they just do it. They just do it. And the whole time they're talking dirty to each other. Like, Phyllis is taking off his shirt, and she's saying, this is bad, you know, this is bad, but isn't it good? You know, the bad ideas are some of the best ones eventually. And Ronan is saying, you know, this could, you know, it's a bad idea because I'm a police officer. And he's got her stripped down to just her bra and panties laying on the desk. And they just start going at it. It is so incredibly hot. Phyllis is such a slut. She's kind of a slut. I love her so much, but this was kind of a slutty thing to do because, I mean, she went and told Nick that she was gonna use her womanly ways to get info out of Ronan, but, like, flirting is one thing. Full-on contact is another. I hope that this wasn't just about Nick. I hope that it was just Phyllis had a need and damn it, she wanted to fill it. That's what I'm hoping that it was. You know, just because I think that Nick is such a lost cause at this point. If he's not running to Sharon's rescue, then he's finding someone else that he can have intimate moments with. It's totally inappropriate for him to be embracing Avery. Avery is the one woman that Phyllis asked him to stay away from. She's my sister, we have an awkward relationship, stay away from her, yet Nick can't seem to accomplish the one simple thing that she needs from him. So, I mean, I guess I can't blame her. I just want Phyllis to have done it because she wanted to, not just because of Nick. And believe me, I was expecting for Nick to walk in at any moment and get an eyeful of Phyllis and the detective. I'm kind of surprised that he didn't, because he was on his way back to Restless Style when Friday's show ended. By the end of the week, he was on his way back to Restless Style. So he is gonna walk in and probably, I don't know, smell the sex in the air. Just be like, was the sex wolf here? I'm sure it would be unmistakable. And for Ronan's part, I feel a little guilty because this is a departure. It's from Chloe and Ronan, which I really like. I feel like we're very far off from Chloe and Ronan, from cloning right now, and I know there are some cloning fans out there who are very upset by this, but I hesitate to say, but I don't even care right now. I like Chloe and Ronan, but I feel like I like Ronan and anybody. It doesn't even matter to me who he's with. Just so long as he's on screen doing somebody, then I'm just fine. And by the way, one weird thing that I noticed was that Ronan actually asked Phyllis after hot sex if she wanted to go get coffee with him, which is more than he did with Chloe. The first time he screwed her and then ran off with Phyllis. So he was kind of like, hey, you want to go get some coffee? Or, I mean, and he sort of hung around a little bit too long in a way. I was thinking, look, this was supposed to be it's obviously a one-nighter, so maybe Ronan, you need to put your shoes on and just get out. But he was kind of hanging around a little bit. I don't know. I wonder if that means that he actually possibly has more than a physical attraction for Phyllis? I don't know how. He knows nothing about her. I don't know how that would be possible. The sex wolf does sex. That's what he does. That's what he does best. And that's what I want him to keep doing. Seriously, I, at this point, could not give a crap less about who killed Diane Jenkins. The only thing that has sparked my interest within the last now 12 weeks of Ronan's investigation of Diane has been this sex. So take that as a cue, YNR. I really honestly don't care about any other storylines having to do with Ronan, but this gets my attention. Please, just keep letting him sex his way through Genoa City and I will be one happy viewer. So in other shocking storyline developments this week, Chloe totally proposed to Kevin. She asked Kevin to marry her, which I want to discuss the good stuff first because she did this amazing proposal that was sort of pretty in pink and just so off-key and so representative of Chloe and how their relationship is. She did this kind of karaoke thing where she cleared out the coffee house with Victoria's help, and as soon as Kevin walks in the door, she puts this little sign on around his neck that says Bill, and she starts to singing a song karaoke style. She starts singing, "Marry me, Bill, come on and marry me, Bill." It was so cool. I really enjoyed that. I was paying so much attention to that scene while I was working actually this week that I totally screwed something up for work. I was glued to the screen watching Chloe's amazing proposal to Kevin and screwed up some work. But oh well, it was worth it. It was so cute. And Chloe the actress actually did a really nice job with the song too. She did a good job singing though. It's not an easy song to sing, and she did it. And she actually, one more reason why she reminds me of Madeline Kahn. I don't know if any of you guys know or remember Madeline Kahn. She was a comedian, did a lot of work in the late 70s, late 70s and throughout the 80s. She was in Young Frankenstein, and specifically this routine that Chloe did reminded me of Madeline Kahn in Blazing Saddles. Just a great musical number, and just the way she looks, it just reminds me of Madeline Kahn. Some of her delivery, I'm a huge Madeline Kahn fan, and so that just struck that chord with me, and I thought it was so wonderful proposing to Kevin. And Kevin had like this totally befuddled look on his face the entire time she's singing to him, and it's saying over and over, "Marry me, Bill." And Kevin's just like, I'm wondering, is it sinking in to his brain at all? Because he's just giving her this blank look. And I honestly was not expecting him to say yes. I just thought that he was gonna feel too guilty to say yes, but then again, I don't know how you could say no to a wonderful proposal like that. It was so cool and so funny, but at the same time, it was really heartbreaking. Just that Chloe's affection for Kevin is such an ultimate example of misplaced affection. She sees Kevin as this man who has saved her daughter's life, and she even made a comment that when Kevin gave his bone marrow to Delia, it fused the three of them for life. And now with this proposal, with this marriage, she's just making it official. And it almost makes her look like a fool, which I hate. Just the fact that there's this giant lie hanging over this amazing proposal, and I just can't help but wonder, how is Chloe gonna feel about Kevin once she realizes and finds out that he lied? Many people in Genoa City are reeling over the catching, the arrest of Colin. There has been a lot of fallout from that ever since he got fuzzy handcuffed to the bed. And Jill is, I think, getting over it splendidly. I think she's working it out in her head. I think that her second time back with Colin was almost this temporary reprieve that she knew was not going to last. I think in some ways she had already started to let him go when they first broke up, at the first set of lies. So in a way, I think she has been prepared for this for a while. But then there's the old Catherine Chancellor, I told you so, also hanging over her head, which was inevitable. Catherine, flat out, of course, looked at Jill and just said, I told you so. Of course. What would we expect anything less from Catherine? Jill was able to save a little bit of face with Catherine. They were having lunch at Glowworm, and Jill revealed exactly how she caught Colin, cluing Catherine in on the fact that she fuzzy handcuffed him to bed and then called the police. And I think that Catherine appreciated that. It made Jill look like less of a fool. And I don't think that Jill is a fool. I think that Jill is now seeming very strong. She had a moment to go to the jail this week to tell Colin off for the final time, and she looked excellent. She had on like this shiny jacket with this matching shiny necklace that was like made out of the same material as the jacket, and I thought it looked really good, and she just seemed really strong. And even in the jail, Colin was flirting with her. He was still saying things like, our love is so strong and I can't wait until we get past this and we get to the part where we make up again. And Jill's just looking at him like, are you flirting with me while you're standing here in a jail cell? That's so his personality. And she just told him off and she walked out the door, and I'm hoping that she is able to regroup herself. And I would really like to see her with a strong, good man. Jill's had a long road. She's had a long, rough road, and I really would like to see her with somebody who can add some spice to her life, but also keep her under control. Rein her in when she needs to be reined in. And Genevieve is in a similar boat. Genevieve has had this very long history with Colin, and for as rocky as it was, she never expected that the guy was going to try to kill her. So she has her opportunity to go to the jail to talk to Colin and see him off, and she continues the role of torturing back and forth. The difference here is that I think it's starting to sink in for Genevieve, and she's feeling intensely guilty over the fact that her innocent maid was caught in the crossfire between her battle with Colin. It was, if it weren't for Colin and his relationship with Genevieve, this maid never would have ended up in the hospital in intensive care, and Genevieve is having a really hard time coming to terms with that. So she has decided that she is going to turn over all of Colin's codes, the codes that are needed to read his books that will become evidence for the crimes that he's committed. So she's handed that over to the police, and she's hoping that he goes to jail for a very, very long time. But odd little nugget of information. She also goes to the jail and she just mentions to Colin that she has contacted his old friend Marty. And as soon as she tells Colin that, she says she's contacted the old friend Marty and that he's looking forward to seeing Colin in Australia. And Colin's reaction to that was, well, that's good news. What made you decide to do that? And she just said, I just couldn't help myself, or something to the effect. And it wasn't really discussed who exactly Marty is and what role he's going to play, but my interpretation of that scene was that possibly because Genevieve stole all of Colin's money, he's not able to afford an attorney. So my thought is that maybe Marty is a lawyer. Maybe she hired him a lawyer, which is it's so weird that she would help him on one hand and then hand over his codes to read his books, you know, with the other hand. So it's again the strange pull that these two people have, the strange, bizarre relationship that they have continues even now that Colin is on his way back to Australian jail. I can't believe that this is the position I'm taking on this, but everybody's acting like Kane saved Lily's life. Kane is Lily's hero. Well, I'm sorry, but Kane put Lily in danger. It was Kane's lies that caused Lily to go to Genevieve's mansion in the first place. If he would have been truthful with her from the beginning, she never would have gone to the mansion. He put her into danger and then supposedly saved her from danger, and now he's a hero? All of a sudden he's a hero? Devon wants to hug him? Devon has hated Kane for so long, and now he actually said to Neal this week, I don't know, I kind of want to hug that guy now for saving Lily's life. Am I the only one that's seeing this? I've been a Lily and Kane fan for a really long time, and I feel guilty saying this, but Lily and Kane don't work for me anymore. It's not that they don't have chemistry. It's that I'm tired of Kane's lies. I really, really hate to say that, but I just feel like Kane maybe needs somebody who is a little more aggressive, because when left to his own devices, he just jumps right into this protector mode and he just keeps things from Lily. He just blatantly keeps things from Lily. And it bothers me. It also bothers me from a storyline perspective. Like, we're just all supposed to be like, oh, okay, I guess Kane's a hero, so then he's a hero, so it's okay if Lily and Kane are back together now. And I can't be the only fan that got lost along the way here. I was a Lily and Kane fan. And just, when he, okay, if the last lie was him faking his death, if that was the last lie, maybe I could've gotten over it. But even that wasn't the last lie. He continued to lie. He's going to continue to lie to her. There's no evolution in their relationship whatsoever. It's right back to square one. It's right back to where we've always been, and I'm tired of it. I honestly, I'm feeling like I would rather see them with other people. I can't believe I'm saying that, but that's how I'm feeling now. All of a sudden, Kane is this savior, and Lily can't keep her hands off of him. He shows up at her house this week, and as soon as she sees him, she just looks at him, and they embrace, and they have this passionate kiss, and I just feel like Lily was looking for an excuse anyway. I mean, she was just waiting for the right excuse to get back together with Kane. Where's Daniel, by the way? Where's Daniel? He was supposed to be her friend and sticking with her through all of this and keeping her from going back to Kane. Even if I wasn't, I mean, I don't know. I wasn't 100% on board the Daniel and Lily train either, but he was a good friend to her, and now he's just dropped off the scene, and now Lily's right back to where she started. So, Lily and Kane got back together, totally got back together this week. They went on into the bedroom, and they had passionate, slow love-making with each other. It was so annoying. Of course, I still totally watched it and totally drooled. Sofia and Neal are kind of together now, raising their son, and they're easing into a nice little groove. She's staying in his apartment, and they're taking turns taking care of the baby and just getting adjusted to their new little family. It's kind of nice. And on the flip side of the coin, Devon is trying really hard not to get used to his new family. He's resisting it with every ounce in his body, I think. One thought that occurred to me this week is, if Adam was able to have magical vision surgery on his eyes, then why can't Devon get magic hearing surgery so that he doesn't have to wear the hearing aid? I just think that must suck. It's like the actor every time has to put on that stupid hearing aid thing. I guess I shouldn't say that, because it is part of the character. It was part of his struggle. But every time I see it, I think, how come they don't magically give him his hearing back? Because they don't really address it ever anymore. They don't talk about it. And I'm wondering if people new to the show watch YNR and see him in his hearing aid wonder about that. But, maybe I shouldn't have said that. Maybe I should let Devon keep his hearing aid. It's part of his personality. Now, interesting little development on the Devon front this week. Abby starts to realize that she has feelings for Devon. She's talking to Ashley and Tucker about what a nice guy Devon is, and it dawns on her. You can see it in her eyes, her little wheels turning in her head, that, wow, Devon's a really nice guy. He's got integrity, unlike most of the people in this town, and maybe I'm starting to fall in love with him. It was nice. It was really nice. And I think I really like Abby and Devon. I think I could really get into them, because he could be a stabilizing force for her, which is what I've wanted for her for a while. I think I would need to give it more time to decide if I would really like them together. I'd like to see them together a little bit more in order to make my my judgment call. But I think for now it could be good. I think they might be a nice little couple. So as Abby has this revelation, she calls Devon and she wants to tell him. She asks him to have coffee at the coffee house, and it is on the tip of her tongue. She's getting ready to tell him that she's falling in love with him when Roxy shows back up into the picture, which I'm very excited about. It's kind of like I feel pulled in two different directions, because I like Roxy too. I think she's really got a cool style. I like her hat. She was wearing a hat this week, and it reminded me of Drew and her funky hats, and she just seems like a nice girl, but she seems like she could get, she could have a cat fight with Abby. I kind of would like to see Roxy and Abby going at it over Devon. That would be sort of cool. I like it. I want to get to know Roxy really, really bad. So I think it could be really, really an interesting triangle that was unexpected, and it'll give us some new blood with Roxy, hopefully, and an unexpected coupling with Devon and Abby. Now, Abby is decided to, after Roxy shows up, she's like, okay, I'm gonna step back, let Devon and Roxy have their moment, not gonna announce my love for Devon in front of his girlfriend. So she goes out into the main part of the coffee house and sits down, and who sits down next to her but Ricky? And he starts to have these lame come-ons for her. He's telling her that she's exquisite, and just kissing her ass, and I don't know, just something about him just rubs me the wrong way. And Abby was like, does that line work for you usually? Because it's not working for you here. And he kept persisting. He's done it in a couple of things. There was somebody else he was flirting with. Maybe it was Eden or something a couple of weeks ago. Just flirting with them. And it's rubbing me the wrong way. I guess we're starting to see that he is thinking that he's hot stuff, like he's thinking that he's a ladies' man. But is it me, or I just keep thinking that, wow, Ricky is kind of a scumbag? Where we last left off, all of the usual suspects for Diane's murder were gathered at this old abandoned warehouse in Genoa City, and just as they all arrived, this weird, creepy slideshow started on an old-timey projector on the wall, and it was a collage of things having to do with Diane. At first it was some photos from the crime scene and the cover of the newspaper on the day that she died, and then it quickly started to evolve into scenes from everyone that night. It was everyone's interaction with Diane, showing that whoever put together this slideshow took videotape of everyone having contact with Diane that night. Jack on the bridge, Nick on the bridge, Phyllis with the rock, Ashley and Tucker and everybody, Victoria, even Victoria in the bushes, and Abby, and whoever killed Diane, which is Patty. Totally Patty, killed Diane and framed and filmed everyone for this murder. And so created this collage of scenes, just showing everybody's involvement, and the most significant thing being that now everybody kind of knows what everybody else did. At first it was just isolated information, and everybody thought they were the only guilty one, and nobody was really revealing any information, but now all of the suspects know what all of the other suspects did on that night, what role they played. The only person that doesn't know is Ronan, and it doesn't really, I don't know, it doesn't really matter anyway, because none of those people did anything. Avery actually made a really good point this week that even though someone lies doesn't mean that they're guilty, and that's exactly what we have here this week. Super awesome, interesting development. Cannot wait for this. So Nikki has been off in rehab forever, and she's finally left rehab. She's finished her program, and she called Victor to say, I'm on my way home, but first I'm gonna take a little trip. And in fact, I think it was that she was taking a vacation. Like, Nikki's been at rehab for months, and now the second she gets out of rehab, she's like, whew, I gotta take a vacation. That was intense. She needs a vacation from her vacation. So we haven't actually technically seen Nikki yet, but there was a scene, which was clearly not her, but it was a scene of someone's feet wearing these gorgeous little red pumps and very anxiously tapping them on the ground, and we saw a suitcase, a luggage go up into an airport little baggage weighing area, and the claim ticket on the side of it said Nikki Newman. So I'm so excited. I have no freaking idea what role Nikki might have played in Diane's murder. I have no idea how she's gonna fit into the storyline when she comes back. I just don't even care. The only thing that matters is that Nikki is coming back. So while everyone else got called to the abandoned warehouse, Adam got his own invitation. It was a single invitation out to a very creepy, weird pumpkin farm instead, where in addition to many other strange little items, there is a like pumpkin scarecrow looking thing dressed up as a nun. And we realize in that moment that Patty is still alive, and Adam just says, oh, Patty, I knew you were back in town. So that was a little clue that Adam didn't necessarily know that Patty was behind some of the things. I think he suspected it, but he doesn't seem to have been pulling her strings in this part of her plan, at least. If Patty and Adam were working together to kill Diane or on any other plan, who knows? I think that Patty has gone rogue. And my guess is that Patty is going to try really hard to set Adam up, because we all know that Ronan had his cell phone stolen. It was from Ronan's cell phone that everyone else in Genoa City got that message to go out to the warehouse. And mysteriously, that cell phone shows up in an envelope on Adam's doorstep. Well, Adam goes to get the phone. He picks up the envelope, opens it up, sees the phone inside, and he's like, what the heck is this? Why would somebody drop a cell phone on my door? clearly, I don't know how it would have happened since Patty's in the hospital, but she must have somebody else working with her to send the messages in the first place. So someone else is working with Patty. There's another element here. I don't know what it is, but whoever it was that sent the text message to everyone on Patty's behalf also put the phone on Adam's doorstep. He picks it up, and of course, Ronan goes to pay him a visit, sees that Adam has his cell phone, and realizes, hey, this is enough evidence to arrest him. So he arrests Adam. And also, it's significant worth noting that Nick, way back a couple of weeks ago, when Ashley was being tortured with all of those photos and things in the mail, Nick decided to take the envelope that the picture was sent in and have it analyzed for DNA evidence. Well, the DNA evidence has come back. Nick has it. He takes it to Ronan and reveals that he found that the results show that Adam's DNA was on that envelope. Now, in my head, I can't believe that Adam was sending those pictures to Ashley. True, precedent. Clearly he has screwed with Ashley in the past, but I would like to believe that he's over that, that he was over that now. And what even benefit would he have to try to blackmail Ashley when he could have certainly have been blackmailing Nick or Victor or Victoria or any of the other people who have actually done something to him in Genoa City? I don't know why he would do it to Ashley. I think that that's also part of Patty's setup plan. I think Patty somehow got Adam's DNA onto that envelope and sent it to Ashley and is framing and trying to frame him for at least the blackmail part, if not Diane's entire murder. So Adam gets arrested. Ronan hauls his butt down to the station, and strangely enough, he calls Avery to help him out. Avery and Adam have been having this back and forth. Why won't you help Sharon? You be a decent human being and help Sharon. Oh, but Sharon hurt my feelings and I'm Mr. Emotionless. You know, back and forth banter between Adam and Avery. So it was surprising that he would call Avery for help. But when Victor caught wind of this, a little light bulb went off in his head and he realized, you know what, Avery, why don't you go ahead and try to get Adam out of jail? Why don't you go ahead and represent him? And while you're at it, try to get some information out of him that will help Sharon's case. So it's kind of like a tit for tat sort of thing. Like Avery goes to the jail and sort of implies that, all right, I will help you in exchange for you helping me with Sharon's case. So Adam actually agrees, gets let out of jail, and tells Avery what happened to the memory card. He told Avery that he dumped it in the creek, which was a huge revelation. That's the first time he's admitted that. It seems to be that Avery is the only person that he is able to open up to. And I don't know if it's one of those things like where criminals secretly want to get caught, or I don't know what the mentality is, or if it's just his guilt getting the better of him, or if Avery's just a really good listener. Maybe she reminds him of Sharon and her quest for truth and goodness and all that. I don't know, but he opened up to her and it was a big, big moment. The problem is, there's a little issue of client confidentiality. So she can't go to the DA and tell him that Adam dumped the memory card. So there's no real court order or reason that she can get to drag the creek. Which, I don't know, I thought they said they were going to drag the creek weeks ago, and that still hasn't happened. But the problem is the client confidentiality. So even though Adam opened up about the memory card, it's really not helping out Sharon's case very much. However, being Victor Newman's son that he is, Adam has a backup plan. I kind of can't believe this happened. I'm a little bit disappointed in Adam, but this is what he did. He decides to get all chummy with Heather, who is the prosecutor for Sharon's case. She's on the opposite side. He decides to get all chummy with her. He's been building this relationship for a couple of weeks now. And Heather has a really bad day, which we'll talk about a little bit later. She has some sad things happen to her, so she goes to the bar and she decides to drown her sorrows. She's just feeling heartbroken, and so she's just drinking. And Adam shows up right next to her and is buying her drinks and encouraging her the whole time, and he says, oh, you know, in such a typical icky way, he says, well, you know, why don't we head up to my hotel room? Why don't we just head up to my hotel room? You're a little tipsy. Let me help you. So he gets Heather up to his hotel room, but before that makes a little phone call to a mystery person telling him that he's got kind of a story for them. Next thing we know, Adam and Heather are kissing, walking into his hotel room, and Ricky, her brother, shows up taking photos with his camera of them smooching. Heather totally, clearly blitzed, and he's just snapping away photos, catching her in this compromising position with one of the witnesses on the case. Total breach. I mean, it looks really bad. It's a total setup for Heather. It looks really bad, and as much as I don't like Heather, I feel really, really bad for her. I don't like to see people hurt. I think I have a good heart. Even though I don't like Heather, I really didn't want to see her get hurt or humiliated or anything like that. So as much as you would think I might take some joy in this, I don't. I feel bad for her. I can't help it. And Ricky, I'll restate my hypothesis here. What a scumbag. Paul's son turned out to be a real scumbag. I mean, I don't like Heather, but that was a real jerk-ass move. I don't understand. It was a real jerk-ass move for both Adam and Ricky. Plus, now they're playing it like Ricky's a journalist, like he was taking the photos because he's a budding journalist. He's getting his grad degree in journalism. He approached Phyllis earlier in the week asking if he could give her his resume. Last time I checked, Ricky was a legal researcher. When did he all of a sudden become a freaking journalist? Okay, let's go a little bit deeper here. The reason why Heather was upset and drinking at the bar was because Chance is back in town and she realizes that she loves him. She totally turned him down when he was into her, and now she's realized that she's made a mistake. So Chance called her on the phone to tell her that he's in town. She goes to see him, and she's ready to pour her heart out. She misses him. She wishes that she had made a different decision back at that time, and she's ready to tell him. She's ready to be with him. And just as she's trying to get the words out about how she loves him, Chance says, you know what, I'm really glad that we didn't ever get together because it just wouldn't have worked. And Heather immediately was like, yes, it would have. It was so pathetic. She was like, I made a mistake and I'm really sorry. And Chance is he just turns his head down and he's like, crap. Wow, I'm really sorry, but I've committed myself to my job, and I'm just not in a place where I'm ready to have a relationship right now. Sorry, you missed the boat. And Heather's just crushed. And I think that's why I feel bad for what's about to happen to her. The humiliation that's about to happen to her. Again, I've really disliked, I've tried to like Heather on many occasions, but she never quite clicked with me. However, I really, really hate to see her humiliated. I think the fact that she put herself out there with Chance and that got knocked down by him and now is getting double screwed over by Adam and her brother, she's gonna have a very, very public downfall too. As soon as those pictures get out, her career is over. She's gonna have to leave town. It is not gonna be good. I feel sorry for her. I feel sorry for Paul. One thing I was very surprised about was the fact that now that Chance is back in town, Nina's ecstatic to have him around, but she doesn't want him to end up with Heather, which very, very surprising for me that she's dating Paul, best friends with Paul, been friends with Paul forever, doesn't want her son dating his daughter. That like should be any step-parent's dream that their children would end up falling in love the way they have fallen in love. Yet Nina tells Paul, look, I don't mean to offend you, but I really hope that my son does not get back together with your daughter. Which, like, I don't see how Paul could not be offended by that. It's like saying, sorry, Paul, but your daughter sucks. And she's not right for my son. I don't like her and she sucks. It's the equivalent, which I agree, Nina. Heather does suck, but nonetheless, it's a surprising reaction. And so Heather she's shut down on many levels in many different ways, and I just can't help feeling sorry for her. But she's gonna get something coming to her, and I'm sure we'll see all of that unfold next week. Now, Chance is back kind of doing his thing, and hopefully, I think Chance is coming back into the picture. By the way, I had no idea that he was still on contract. I thought he was gone forever. It's shocking to me that he and Ronan have worked together for this long on this case to nail Colin, and they have not talked about the long liver grift. I would have thought that would have been point one on their freaking hit list. I can't imagine, on their conversation list, I can't imagine Chance letting Ronan not talk about what the heck happened with the liver. If somebody took half of my liver and ran away with it, I don't care how professional I was, I would freaking get some answers about what happened. But I'm glad that Chance is back in town because A, I think he's part of the motivation for getting Heather out of the picture for good, and I am hoping that he's going to open up the door, answer some freaking questions about what the heck happened with the liver thing. It's with Ronan. It sits as a huge question mark in my stomach, and I'm ready to have it resolved. It's very ridiculous that they wouldn't have talked about it at all. Now the Collins case is tied up, though, Chance is starting to ask some questions. He actually approached Ronan this week and asked him what, you know what, you can screw me all, he said, you can screw me over all you want, but I don't like the way you're treating our mother. And so Chance goes on this tirade about why Ronan is such an ass, and he actually ended up going out on a limb and inviting Ronan to dinner, saying, you know what, why don't you prove that you're not an ass and just come to dinner. Nina's having a dinner tonight and you should be there. And Ronan promptly dismisses that idea. He's like, no, 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 no. I have a mother. I don't need this mother. And it's very, very awkward between the two brothers, and Chance is just like, you know what, fine. Fine. He leaves. Ronan accepts that, and then just a few scenes later, Nina and Paul and Chance are all gathered for a little dinner together, and who shows up at the doorstep? What looks like to me a poor little boy who misses his mommy. What the hell did Billy do in Asia? What the hell did Billy do in Asia that was so bad? Because now that Delia's operation is over, Billy is debating whether he should go or stay in Genoa City, and he had his mind made up that he was going to stay in Genoa City and get back together with Victoria. And then Victor shows up with some kind of, like, photo evidence that he shows Billy on his iPad. Like, oh, you think you're gonna stay? Well, guess what? I have a car waiting for you outside. You're gonna leave. And, oh, by the way, take a look at this. Hands him the iPad, and whatever, like, evidence there is on there, Billy takes one look at it and just shrivels. What the hell is it? I mean, even if it was Billy having sex with another woman, I think Victoria would get over it eventually. He was drunk, he was low. Is that really the worst thing that he could do? I don't know. I want to know what the heck he did, because now Billy sees that evidence, whatever it is that Victor is holding over him, and he just grabs his bag and gets in the car, and now he's going to go off Or that's I guess the way it was presented. I don't think it'll be that way for long. I think that we're gonna see more of this Billy. Will he stay? Will he go? Will he reveal himself? Will he not reveal himself? Because there's gonna be a Halloween party next week, and we all know that Halloween is Billy's favorite holiday, and so I think he's going to go into disguise to this Halloween party and use that as an excuse to see Victoria. I think that'll kind of be fun, and I hope that's where they end it. Let Billy and Victoria reunite at this fun Halloween party. Let that be the climax. Let them work everything out, because I'm kind of getting tired of all of this crap. Billy and Victoria have been on the outs for months and months now, and Billy has been going back and forth about where should I stay in Geno's seat or should I leave? I'm a worthless piece of crap. Nobody, you know, it's just this self-loathing that I'm getting tired of. Take some responsibility. Get your life back if that's what you want. So I'm hoping that that's the direction that we're headed in, because Victoria needs some help. She's got a wicked, wicked father. I mean, it just kills me, Victor playing the doting father with her, bringing her flowers, acting like he's on her side, listening to her, while the whole time he's trying to keep Billy from her in this most heinous way. So I hate seeing Victor like this. By the way, I do love the interaction between Billy and Victor. There are some funny moments. I mean, Billy plays on on Victor in a way that nobody else really does, in a very young Jack sort of way. I enjoy their rivalry, and even though all of this crap with Billy has affected my feelings for the character of Victor, I still love Eric Braeden. I still do love him. I will never stop loving that man. I just hope that maybe once Nikki gets back into the picture, they can start to redeem him, and hopefully Victoria can just get her life back on track. Now, she doesn't even have Sam. She's not going to have him anymore to help take off, you know, some of the loneliness. They had a dog together, for crying out loud. But Sam gets a phone call this week saying that he needs to leave town. He has patients, you know, he has his practice, his veterinarian practice, that he's had someone taken over for him for months and months, while he dropped his entire life to sit with, you know, Sharon while she's on trial, when Sharon has given him nothing in return, nothing. I mean, she told him to go, but she's still letting him hang on. And finally, Victoria realized this is the scenario, that Sam's putting his life on hold for Sharon. So Victoria finally goes to Sharon and gives it to her straight and says, you know what? He's in love with you. So, and if you don't love him, you need to just let him go. Let him get back to his life. And that's what ended up happening. You know, Sharon and Sam had their seeming goodbye back at the courthouse, and then Sam went back to Victoria's house and said goodbye to her. It seems like they're leaving the door open, though. Sam seems determined that he is going to come back, so it's possible that it might just be a temporary exit for him, but for now, he's packed his bags and he's on his way back to San Pueblo. Okay, well, that's gonna do it for me for this week. Those are all my Y&R thoughts. I got them out onto the table, and now it's your turn. Give me your Y&R thoughts. Tell me what you're thinking. Tell me what your theories are, what your impressions are, and most importantly, do you love the Phyllis and Ronan sex? I cannot freaking wait to hear your comments on that. I will be waiting with bated breath, believe me. And I'll be looking forward to next week, actually, because I always love the Halloween shows. I love Halloween in general. It's probably my favorite holiday, too. So I hope that you guys have fun watching the show and with your own Halloween plans. If anybody's having any really cool costumes, you can always send me a picture of your costume. I'd love to see it. Or leave me a comment and let me know what your costume is going to be. Love Halloween. Hope you love it, too, and hope you guys have safe fun. Until next week when we talk again. Alright? I love you guys so much, and I hope that you all are safe and taking care and knowing that I love you and enjoying the show. Okay? Alright, you guys. Mwah. Bye!